All right. Well, welcome to the All Hands. I appreciate you all taking time to spend an hour with us today. We're going to jump right into it. We have a hard stop today at 3 p.m. and we have some great content to share with you. So I'm going to jump right into it. So let's just start by quickly welcoming a few new agents to join the company. We have a bunch of folks who joined in Village Square in Ridgewood, one agent in Tenafly, and then several agents in Fort Lee that we're going to talk about later. It was a great week for us. 3 cappers joined, actually 4 cappers, 3 alone in Fort Lee and 1 in Ridgewood. For those of you who aren't familiar with the term capper, that's an agent that does roughly 5 million or more per year. So we're excited. We're getting lots of excited new agents to join the company, and as well as experienced and top producing agents. So it was a good week all around in that regard. And then just a quick update on what's going on in each different market center. In Ridgewood, we have a very cool workshop coming up called Loving on Leads, with 4 great speakers. I think we have Justin on today who can share a little bit about this amazing workshop that we have coming up.
Yeah, Al, this is designed, to be interactive in a workshop, hands-on, and between Alyssa, Billy, Mike, and myself, all of what we bring to the table. We're going to just kind of show you all the different ways that you can source leads, leverage your partnerships, and ultimately grow your business. So it's going to be, like I said, very interactive, and people will be able to walk out of this with actionable items that they can put into place right away. That's
awesome. Thank you, Justin. Looking forward to it. Okay, over in Woodcliff Lake at the Valley office, we have two big classes coming up from 2 of our very top agents. We have Paula Clark is going to be teaching a class on mastering your calendar. And we have Cheryl Cooper is going to have a class around mindset. And they were both speakers, if you remember, on last week's All Hands. And it was, one of our best attended and best feedback we've ever received. So this will be even more time with these 2 ladies in more of a one-on-one setting. So hopefully you can make that. If you have any questions about any of these events, just throw them in the chat, and Elizabeth and I will do our best to answer them either during the All Hands or afterwards. Moving over to Tenafly in Town Life, we have John Genovese, our returning productivity coach, who's going to be teaching a class on the mastering your sphere of influence, marketing. John, are you on? If you're on, if you want to say a couple words. If you're not, shame on you. I don't think he's probably out productivity coaching people, so he doesn't have time for this stuff. All right, moving on to city views. We have our very own Vanda Andres teaching a class on community working, lead gen through community working. And we also have Natalie teaching a class on video magic using CapCut. Are either Natalie or Vanda on to talk about their class? One of these days, after we've been doing this for a couple of years, I'm going to find out ahead of time who's on and who's not. But at least I shared my screen quickly today, so I'm making progress. Who's here?
I'm here, Natalie.
Hey, Natalie, how are you?
Good.
So you are our queen of social media. You're going to be teaching a class on CapCut. Anything you want to share about that?
Well, it's just basically a introduction to CapCut and how to edit your videos so you can post them on social media.
All right, awesome. And that is on the 13th at 11. I know the question we always get asked, is it in person only? Is it on Zoom? Is it hybrid? What's the plan?
We're figuring it out. Workshop.
In person only, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right, very cool. Well, thank you for doing that. Thank you, Natalie.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on. All right. Also in Fort Lee, we're welcoming actually 3 new agents to join us this week. All 3 are cappers. We have Risha, Franz, and Vera. Are you guys on?
Yeah, I think Franz is on, Al.
Hey, Franz, how are you? I'm good, Al. How about you? I'm pretty good, Franz. Are you there, buddy?
All right, I'm mute. Do you hear me now?
We hear you now.
Okay, great,
How are
great.
you?
I'm good, man. Just excited to be back home. Started
Yeah.
my journey with Keller Williams, and I'm back. So exciting things on the horizon.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to say that you not only a top agent joining the company, but it's round two for you. Anything you want to share about why you decided to come back and what you're most excited about, and anything at all you want to share? Certainly, we're excited. Josue can't stop talking about you guys joining, and he's very excited. And I think you're going to do great things here.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I was spoiled for the past 3-4 years where it was full service luxury buildings, and some of my buildings are now at like 95% occupancy. And I said to myself, okay, gotta hit the pavement again. And what better organization to get with to hit that pavement and get back to the lead generating mindset as opposed to lead receiving mindset? Because we've been, as I said, we've spoiled for a couple of years now. So now we got to get back into the lead generating mindset. And what better company to do it with than Keller Williams? And I just, I remember what that learning process was with other companies, and by far Keller Williams was the best when it comes to the listing aspect of things.
I tend to agree with you, definitely. And no better person to be working with. The king of lead gen is Josue. So partnering with him I think is going to do great things for your business. So again, welcome back. We're excited to have you back in the family.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right, moving on to Rutherford. We have a team rally coming up and our Kelly Awards on the 13th at noon. And we also wanted to point out that Park Views has 62 properties currently under contract, totaling over 28 million. So great job, Kevin and the Park Views team there. That's great. All right, I think we got through our announcements pretty quickly today. And again, we do have a hard stop at 3, so we're going to move right into our featured speaker today. We have Dawn Krause. She is a top luxury agent. She's served over 250 families and closed over 83 million in 2023. She's also a vice president of growth for Livian, a territory leader of the Midwest, and a luxury regional ambassador. So she's got all kinds of sales and all kinds of titles, and we're excited to learn from her today. So welcome, Dawn. How are you?
Thank you, Al. Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here. And Al, if you would, oh, there you go. I was just going to ask you to unshare. That's perfect. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It is so great to be here with you all. And I am super excited to be visiting with you today. I'm actually going to put you on gallery screen on mine because I would love to make this as participatory as possible. And I know that is not an easy thing to do when we are on screen and we've got 4 screens full of participants today. However, I would love for you to be interactive with me. And I'm going to start by giving you a little bit of background because our topic that we're going to talk about today is leverage and growth. And so I want to get a feel and an understanding for who all we have that's with us today. My understanding is we span 5 market centers and we've got a vast array of experience that are with us today. So if you wouldn't mind, since there's so many screens, if you could get in a chat and just let me know what kind of production are we looking at? What was your production for 2023? And you can do units, volume, whatever's easiest for you. Or if you're brand spanking new, tell me you're brand spanking new. Tell me a little bit about where are you in your real estate journey? Pop that in the brand spanking new. All right. 18 units, solo agent, great. Who else? There's 90 something of you on here, 3.2, all right. 12 million, do we have any rainmakers of teams on here or anyone wanting to build teams? New agent, brand new, got it. And I'll explain why I'm asking all of this. Oh, the question was, experience. So looking for what is the level of experience of participants today, anywhere from brand new to solo agent, building a team, wanting to build a team. Where are we? 22 million, 38 units. Awesome. Nice average sale price, by the way. I'm in the Midwest. So All right. Okay, so we've got a lot of variety here in participation. And here's the reason why I'm asking that is when we're talking about the topics of leverage and growth, this is a topic that applies to everyone on the screen. And whether that is and what it looks like in your business is going to depend on the season that your business is in. It's just going to have a different hue. However, these topics will apply to all of you. And before I get going with this, I'm going to start by giving some background and history. And while Al gave a little bit of my resume, I'm going to give you a little bit more because I think it all comes into play on how the topic of conversation today really can get utilized in your business to grow you to wherever it is you're looking to be. So a little bit of background. So I'm 23 years in real estate. This is a second profession for me. My first profession was in counseling. I was a therapist. I was going to save the world. So got my undergrad in psychology and my master's degree in professional counseling and started on that journey. And through some interesting life events, wound up with a 14-month-old and then surprise identical twins. And so through that journey, ended up getting into real estate because my husband had gotten his real estate license as a firefighter paramedic. He only worked 10 days a month, so he had gotten licensed to be able to flip homes on his off days. So when we found out the surprise of having the twins, he said, you know what, why don't you get your real estate license? If you sell one house a month, we'll be okay. So I was pregnant out to here with my twins, supposed to be on bed rest, and instead ended up getting my real estate license and just going from there. In 2009, I came from Prudential, which is now Berkshire, and moved over to Keller Williams. So I've been with KW for 15 years. And all right, Allie's got identical twins too. Fantastic. So started with KW 15 years ago. My team last year, as Al had noted, we served over 250 families for 83 million in volume. My team is in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I live now and have been here my whole life. I am what you would consider 6.5 level. So for those who are familiar with MREA and the org chart, I have been out of production for several years, and I got into market center leadership back in 2010. So I started with a market center. If you've ever heard Mark King speak, you've heard him talk about the Chesterfield Market Center. That is the market center that I launched back in 2011, started recruiting for it in 2010. John Davis, who is the previous CEO of Keller Williams, was my operating principal and my regional director. And so I did the majority of the recruiting to launch our Chesterfield Market Center while still also building my real estate team. And then in 2012, I became the team leader of that market center. In 2013, Mark King, who is now, for those of you who are newer, he is the president of Keller Williams International. I already knew Mark because he was in leadership, OP, and TL in the Greater Heartland region, which is the region I am in. And he became my MAPS coach in 2013. Then in 2014, I left the team leader role, and Mark moved to Chesterfield, Missouri, and became the team leader of our market center. So I stayed in that market center and did a lot of recruiting alongside Mark. And over the next couple of years, he and a gal named Rebecca Rose and I did a lot of recruiting and rebuilt that market center to one of the top recruiting market centers in the KW system. In 2018, John Davis, who was our OP, came to Mark and said, I want to sell Chesterfield. I want you to buy it. He said, no one has helped me grow this market center more than Dawn. I want her to be my partner. And he said, you would be wise to do that. So in January 6th of 2019, Mark, Rebecca, and I bought the Chesterfield Market Center. And the next day, John's resignation, resigning from the CEO of the company, came out, which then kind of opened up some additional doors and opportunities. And we then the three of us went on to launch a market center in O'Fallon, Illinois, which is about 40 minutes from our Chesterfield Market Center. We launched a title company together. I'm also the owner in a market center in Lake of the Ozarks, which is a second home community here in Missouri. I'm the OP of the Illinois Market Center, the GM of the Chesterfield Market Center. Then when Mark became the regional operating principal of Mid-American region, he brought me in as his regional director of growth. Then in 2021, Mark and I formed a holding company, and I ran 8 businesses that either he and I owned together, I owned, or he owned. And then in 2021, he said, I think you should, yes, the show Ozark. That's exactly right. Although that only shows one side of the lake. So then in 2021, Mark actually said, hey, I think you should talk to Adam Hergenrother, who's the CEO of a company called Livian, which is a Keller Williams owned company. And long story short, I joined Livian with my team 2 years ago and started as a Livian territory leader, which basically is like a regional director for KW. I was in charge of growing a region of Livian inside of KW. And then I was having the most success of any of the other Livian territory leaders. So that's when Adam asked me to become the vice president of growth, in charge of growing all of the company. And so I share all of that to say, yes, I've worn many hats and have many titles and all that kind of good stuff. And the only reason that I can do any of those things that I have done and continue to do is because of this topic that we're going to talk about today. And we're going to start with leverage. So when I say the word leverage, what comes to mind? You can unmute yourself. What does leverage mean to any of you? Remember, this is the interactive part.
Hiring.
Hiring. Thank you, Susan. Who else?
Using your money to get more money.
Ooh, I like that, Tori. Yes. Who else?
Advantage.
Advantage. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, an advantage.
An advantage. Yes, Franz. Thank you. Who else? And what I found consistently, what I found in those recruit appointments is that there really are 4 themes of what you're going to hear when you start talking to agents and see what is it that you're looking for? What is it that's important to you? What's working in your business? What are the challenges in your business? What does all of that look like? And really the 4 areas that you're going to consistently see that people feel like they have needs or areas of opportunity fall into 4 categories. They're either looking for, and actually several of you made mention to this, they're either looking for more time, more money, they're looking for leverage, or they're looking for opportunities. Those 4. So time, money, leverage, and opportunities. And frankly, if they had more time and money, they would likely be, if they had more time, they would able to entertain more opportunities. If they had more money, they would be able to afford more leverage. So really it all boils down to time and money first. And so I've got a couple of slides about this right here. So if you want to note this down, these are really the 4 main areas. And the way that we know that we can impact all of these is by starting with what you all talked about. How are we going to get more time and more money back? It's through leverage. And in Keller Williams, when we talk about leverage, how many of you have heard of E to P? Going from entrepreneurial, I'm going to unshare. How many of you have heard from going from entrepreneurial to purposeful? An MRA. Yep, seeing some hands. You can give me some emoji hands too. We can participate emoji wise also. All right, so when we go from E to P, this is one of my, I'm going to start getting some really, really not fancy art going on my little whiteboard over here. All right, can you guys see my whiteboard okay? Thumbs up? You can see? All right, excellent. All right, so you see right here, it's a stair step. Can you guys see that okay? Yes? Okay. All right. So when I'm just going to give you a quick, for those of you who are newer to the industry and newer to the company, I'm going to explain what E to P is in a really simple way. So E is your entrepreneurial level. This is a level of success that your natural wiring or your natural skill set will get you so far. And so when I'm at wherever I am in my business, I'm growing, and eventually I'm going to hit a ceiling. And when I hit that ceiling, it really feels like this. My hair's on fire. There's not enough hours in the day. I feel like I'm a hamster on a wheel. How many of y'all have felt like that? Colleen, that arm went up really high, really quickly. That's exactly right. So when we have hit that ceiling and we're getting those feelings, and technology, models, systems, people, and technology. Okay. And then what happens is as we adopt and integrate that into our business, then we can start growing again. And then as we start growing again, what worked for us at one point is going to end with the E to P. As we're growing, the models and systems that get us to a certain point in our business eventually will be the cap that makes us feel stuck and makes us feel like we've hit that ceiling. So then in order for us to grow again, we have the adoption of models, systems, people, and technology. And like my team did 83 million last year. What worked for us at 83 million is not going to work for us when we start getting to 125 million, 150 million. Whatever it's working at 3 million isn't going to work at 10 million. We have to always be saying, what's the next level of leverage that I can bring into my organization? And for those of us who are individual agents, are newer agents, you're going to be at some point looking to say, what is the leverage that I need for me to be able to grow as well? And so this is a topic that will always be something that's going to help take your business to the next level. So who can give me some examples of leverage? What does that look like? Who's got examples? Whether it's people, systems, models, technology, what are some examples of leverage? You can pop it in the chat or you can unmute yourself.
Coordinator.
Thank you. Operations coordinator. That's right. ISAs, OSAs. We've got showing assistants, buyer's agents, listing agents. We've got technology, CRMs, drip campaigns. So the way that we are, when it comes time to grow your businesses, no matter what production level you are at, there's two things that will happen when you're ready to start growing. You're going to have leverage in your world, and you can either take your time, your money, your resources to research and pay for what those resources are, that leverage is, or you plug into something that is existing. For some of you who, like the gentleman who just came over to KW, that is actually leverage that you actually plugged into because Keller Williams has a higher level of leverage and training and technology through command, et cetera, than many of our competitors. So we can take our time, our energy, our resources to research and then invest in, or we plug into something that is an existing, like a team at whatever size you're looking at there. And the great part is that when you are doing that, it's going to allow you to accelerate your business. It's going to allow you to move up the stair step of progress in your business a little bit faster every single time you adopt that next level. So one of the things that we also know is that in real estate, the size of any of our worlds is directly related to the level of talent with whom we get into business. So how many of you guys have a lot of conversations around talent searching, and whether it is you looking for your next opportunity, or because I know there were some that are actually recruiting and growing teams. How many of you have gotten into the recruiting side of the business? Can you guys show me some digital hands or put it in the chat? How many of you are at that point or looking to grow to that point? Am I glitching? Okay, Debbie, I saw a digital hand there. Awesome. Thanks, Debbie. All right, just hired a cyberbacker. Awesome. So starting with that leverage, fantastic. So one of the things that I would encourage you all to do, 2 buyer's agents, Cheryl, awesome, and a VA, love it. So one of the things that is going to help you both attract high-level talent, and then also for you, for those of you who are looking to partner or join, whether it is another team or wherever you're looking to do in the future for the growth of your organization. One of the things that we want to be able to do is we want to be able to see that this organization is going to be able to be a place where I can get to where I want to be. And so if I'm saying as far as talent needs, there's 2 things that talent wants. They want challenge and they want opportunity. And if they don't see both within your organization, or if you don't see challenge and opportunity for yourself, what's really the draw? So one of the things that we need to make sure that I'm going to speak right now as if I'm the rainmaker of an organization, but keep in mind, if you are an individual maybe looking for what your next opportunity looks for, or looking for how you can grow your business, the same thing applies. Okay. So I'm going to speak as a rainmaker right now. One of the things that we need to always be doing is vision casting. One of the most effective tools that I have ever seen in vision casting is through organizational charts. How many of you all have an organizational chart or have been exposed to them that has been a draw to you? Digital hands? Yes? All right, hopefully so. I'm going to give you an example of what an org chart looks like. Now remember, this is a rainmaker going, hey, this is how I'm going to, Patty, awesome. This is how I'm going to use to vision cast to people, or if I am someone looking to join an organization or see what leverage looks like. Okay, so this is one of the many org charts that I use and have used in the past. And now this happens to be the one that I use all the time in Livian right now, but I've always had these for my team. And one of the things I show is not just what the current leverage looks like for someone, but also what future opportunities, because remember, talent wants challenge and opportunity. So in this org chart in particular, you've got the yellow boxes, which show current team members, as well as both leadership as well as leverage. So if someone's joining the company or looking to take their business to the next level, they can see what kind of operational and leadership support is already in place. Then the gray boxes are future opportunities that we are either hiring for now or in the future. So this says, hey, if I'm currently in production, but boy, I love coaching. I love training. I would love the opportunity to be able to build my business and be able to give back in some of those areas. Or I love operations side of things. Being able to see in an organization what that can look like. So as you have leverage to grow your business, you can see other opportunities. That is super, super attractive to talented individuals. And for those of you looking to grow your world, you want to be able to see, feel, and touch. It's very helpful to be able to see, feel, and touch what the operational support is going to look like to take you and your business to where you're looking to go. And then eventually, if you want to do something in addition to your production, to see that, to see operational team members that go, gosh, I'm starting as a transaction coordinator. There could be an opportunity for me to move up to whatever that might be. So this is a really powerful tool. And then I've used this also in my recruiting role to grow my team inside of recruiting. So this is my immediate team that helps me in my daily recruiting. And then this is what we are going to be growing to as we grow throughout the country. I actually used this to recruit one of the top CEOs inside of Livian, who is now my director of growth and helping me grow the company. But if he didn't see a bigger world to attract to, he would not have joined. And so the onus is on me as that vision caster and that rainmaker. The vision is on me to be able to show what that opportunity can look like so that the next level of the business can come to reality. Because remember, the size of any of your worlds is directly related to the level of talent that you get into business with. Okay, so now as we understand leverage, we understand the areas of leverage that people are looking for, and we understand how to vision cast to be able to attract high-level talent. Now, of course, how many of you are familiar with the Leverage Series? The Leverage Series is one of the most popular trainings in Keller Williams. It's all about identifying how to identify talent, the systematic process of actually getting into business with them. And now, once we get into business with them, what needs to happen? Who can unmute themselves? What needs to happen after we get into business with someone? Whether it's an agent joining your team, whether you as an agent joining a partner or a team, whether it's an operations person, whether it's a transaction coordinator or a VA who is coming to support you, what needs to happen when you all have said yes to be in business together? What needs to happen? We've got to train them up, right? We need to make sure that that's exactly it. 30, 60, 90. We've got to get them trained up. And so you actually, thank you for saying exactly the words. This is exactly it. Because what will happen is we can go through all the process of doing our diligence and partnering with someone through the career visioning process. We can take people through the career visioning process. And at the end of the day, what that does is identify talent and get together in an agreement to partner. But now people have to learn how to own their role. For those of you who said, I've hired a VA, I've hired a buyer's agent, or you're looking at some point to bring leverage into your business, people aren't going to release what it is that the leverage is not going to be allowed to come to life in the fullest extent that you're intending until we teach people the way that we want it done. Or if I'm someone joining an organization, if I understand what is expected of me, because I assume we may have some operational people who are on here as well. So this education and training process is paramount to make sure that we've got a successful transition of, yes, we're getting in business together, and now we're going to actually grow together. So the growth control chart which is an integral part of the first 30, 60, 90 days that you're in business with someone. Basically, what this says is when we get into business together, and I'm going to use myself as a rainmaker in this situation. And I'm going to say that this is an agent that's joining the team. And so if I want to teach this listing agent how we do listings and how we excel at doing that, even if they have experience, I can't expect them to walk in day one and be an extension of how we have had a lot of success in doing that. The onus is on me. It's my DNA to teach them how to make that come to life. And so when you start in business together with someone, your control is going to be like, as a rainmaker, my control is going to be high and this person's control is going to be low. And when I say control, that's not in a dictatorial type of way. It's in an education and training and ownership way. So what happens is as I teach this person something and they show me they can do it, then I teach them something more. They show me they can do it. I teach them more. They show me they can do it. Basically what it is we are showing them what to do. And then as they are saying yes, they're proving that they can do it. About halfway through this first 90 to 100 days that you're in business together, then that control starts to shift, meaning I have to show the person less and less of how to succeed in the role because they have shown me that they get it, they're embracing it, and they're succeeding in it. And ultimately, by the end of 90 to 100 days, it used to be 30, 60, 90. You also hear it talk about the first 100 days together. By the end of that 90 to 100 days, they are going to have shown that they can own this role and that they truly, you can release it. And this is where they say they earn the job. And so I'm going to pause here real quick. What is the benefit of slowing down? What is the benefit of this process? What are we achieving by doing this? Who can unmute themselves and tell me, what are we achieving by doing this?
Mastery of a skill?
Yes. Mastery of the skills, mastery of the 20% of what you hired them to do. What else?
I think it will create longevity with the people who are joining your team.
Oh, Cheryl, expand on that, would you? So how is that creating longevity?
Because the more you invest in the people that you're hiring, they will feel that they have the tools to do their job and they won't get discouraged in their job.
Cheryl, yes, they can win. If they're not taught how to succeed, let me tell you, people know when they're failing. And when they feel like they're failing, how's their energy? It's the pits, right? And when their energy is like this, they don't feel like they're winning. What does that do to the whole organization? It infiltrates it, right?
It unravels it.
It unravels it. That's exactly right. And one of the things a leader's responsibility is, first and foremost, is to make sure that if someone is not succeeding, that their DNA is not on it. The only way to make sure that their DNA is not on it is to make sure that we take people through the growth control chart and that we're training them. And ultimately, if we follow the right process to get in business with them, and we are training them, there is a much higher level of success. Now, let's just be really candid. What's the unpopular part of 30, 60, 90? If I'm the rainmaker or I'm someone joining a team and I'm asking this rainmaker to train me up, or this rainmaker and I'm operations and I need to understand their models and systems, what's the bummer part about that process?
Focusing on the part that I want to delegate.
Right, Susan, thank you. First, we have to know what we want to get. We have to have clarity on what we're trying to get off of our plate. That person joining has to have clarity on what their 20% is. That's exactly right. And what do I have to do? This, what we call this 30, 60, 90. So for someone, a lot of us in real estate, we move pretty quick. In order to teach someone this, what is
Patience.
something that I have to do? Patience. Oh my gosh, patience. I have to slow down. I have to be willing. How many of you guys have seen this concept? Have you ever seen the concept of the check mark? Can you see that up there? How many of you are familiar with the concept of the check mark? You are? All right. A few of you are familiar with that. So basically what the check mark says is, I've hit a ceiling in my business. I know I need more leverage. I know I need the next level of model systems and people. Here's where that business is right now. In order for me to go to the next level, I actually have to slow down.
Hopefully Dawn will be back. Anybody have any good jokes while we're waiting? Anything you want to share? Any feedback? Is this
I have
helpful?
to slow down
There we
and
go.
not move so fast. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think we lost Dawn altogether. Did we?
We
All
got
right.
a good shot of Elizabeth putting lipstick on quickly.
No, I think that was just my hands.
Oh.
Well, hopefully she'll come back in, but we only have 15 minutes left as it is. Is anybody? I'm seeing Colleen as my featured person right now. Anything you want to share, Colleen, on not to put you on the spot on leverage? Anybody have any questions about leverage? Anything at all? We can maybe just, mastermind a little bit for the last 15 minutes on leverage. Anybody have questions? Anybody doing anything that's working really well? Anything at all?
I think Josue has a lot to say on this subject. I learned a lot from him.
All right. I'd love to hear that. Josue, do you want to, no pressure, you want to
No
share
pressure.
any of your pearls of wisdom with us?
I think Dawn is back.
It literally just all went away twice.
Is Dawn back?
Yes, I am here.
Welcome back.
All right. I am so sorry, everyone. I do not know what is going on over here on my end. Were you guys able to hear the check mark?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Slow down to go faster.
Okay, we heard the check mark. All right, fantastic. Well, what I'm going to do, I actually have several other things that we can talk about today, but because the glitching is going in and out, I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to answer questions, because this is a really, really important topic that will serve you well, as you, first of all, understand the strength and the power of leverage, understand the different forms of leverage, and then understand what your onus is, both as someone looking for leverage as well as someone that is looking to attract it. We have ownership in all aspects of this. And I want you guys to ask any questions, because this will bode well for you both in your real estate business and if you ever start to get into other areas of opportunity, whether it's coaching, recruiting, growing other businesses. These concepts will bode well for you in all of those areas. So I'm going to pause and say, what questions do you all have as of right now?
I have a quick question while everyone else is thinking about there. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of training around, building teams and leverage and a lot of different paths to get to the place where they want to go. But I think the place where people get stuck is that first hire, that first piece of leverage. So do you, for that agent that's just, they're doing everything they can as a solo agent, they're ready to take that first step, do you recommend virtual assistant, part-time, in-person assistant, full-time? Like, where do they go to make that leap? Because I know that's always, I'm making X, but bringing in the leverage is going to cost me Y, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that investment yet. What do you say with folks?
Thank you, Al. Thank you. So one thing I will say is there's this little red book called MREA. And this has been pretty tried and true over the last 20 years. And so if we take something that is so tried and true like this and say, the answer to that question, what would Gary say? This book right here says that our first hire is a world-class executive assistant. Now, this was put together at a time when virtual partners, et cetera, were not something that were really used. So what is the whole concept of the world-class EA? It's really about having operational leverage. And one of the biggest challenges that a lot of agents do is they start going, I'm busy. Oh my goodness, I'm busy. And what's sometimes one of the first hires that an agent makes?
Mistakenly a buyer's agent.
Mistakenly a buyer's agent. That is exactly right. And the reason why Al says mistakenly a buyer's agent is because as salespeople, by nature, many of us cause chaos. Why do we cause chaos? Because we are just, as long as the business is going forward, we are good, even though there's messes that are being created around us. And so the whole reason why operational transactional leverage is the first recommended hire is to be able to take the messes that we make and be able to put structure and systems around that. And when I, as an agent who has made messes, now hire a buyer's agent who is also going to do what? Make messes. We've got a double hot mess. And so, statistics I have heard in the past is that a world-class executive assistant can actually increase your business by 58%, and a strong buyer's agent can increase your business by 25%. Why is that? Because until you have the systems in place, You as the strong salesperson should keep as many of those sales aspects, like the $6 productive activities. You should keep those as long as you can and offload the operational components. So transaction coordinators, that sometimes market centers have them. There's a lot of opportunities to do those on a contractor basis instead of having to take on the onus of a full-time employee. Virtual partners are wildly popular these days. And I will tell you, in my business, I have 3 virtual partners. Frankly, depending on the company you're working with, they are a fraction of the investment as someone in person. Now, eventually your business will get to the point where you need that higher level in-person opportunity. But if it is, Al, your question was the person that is ready to make their first hire, make their first investment in leverage, I would do that. I would recommend doing that on a contractual transactional basis, so that you make sure that you've got the revenue. You're leading with revenue instead of with expenses. And then another way to approach that as you're continuing to grow, one of the biggest reasons why I see people pause in making an actual hire that they're ready to take their business to the next level is fear. And it's fear of, oh my gosh, this person's financial world is all going to fall on my shoulders. Well, guess what happens? When we are using the career visioning process to identify the right talent, get in business with them, and then we slow down and use the growth control chart to make sure they're trained up, it really is what I call a 90-day investment in that person. That person is in that first 90 days, they are earning the right to stay in business with you. So you really have to commit to a 90-day investment and slowing down to teach them the role and hold them accountable to it. Okay, so that when I kind of post things that way, it kind of takes the pressure off of that rainmaker's or that agent's shoulders to go, oh my gosh, and I don't know what the numbers are in your all's area, but I've got to make a $45,000 hire. I've got to make a $48,000 hire. No, you don't. If that's $4,000 a month, you're making a $12,000 investment and the investment of your time. Okay, it's a little bit different mindset, a different approach to that conversation. And after you already realize that you've got you're starting with that transactional contractor approach, and then when you're ready to take the business to the next level and make that investment, that's a different mindset to be able to approach it with. And once you've got those operational models and systems, and you've got an overflow of leads and business, that's when you're ready to start potentially bringing on an agent at that point. And here's the great thing. The new iteration of this is that it doesn't have to necessarily be a buyer's agent. It can be a showing assistant model. And in fact, several of you said when we started talking about leverage, several of you started talking about the showing assistant model. And that is also wildly popular. So just know that there are different versions of moving into leverage that don't have to cost you a significant amount of money. It's really about making sure that we're getting in business, that we have clearly defined expectations, and that we're training people and holding them accountable, and business will earn the right to the next level of leverage. Does that make sense? Al, thank you for that question. Yeah. Who else has any questions?
Susan put one in the chat. Susan Bai, you want to unmute and ask?
How do you handle the fear or even the experience of pouring yourself in 90 days into the person? Are you hearing me? Uh-oh.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. And they do well, and then, a year later or two, now they decide to go on their own or, look for something better. I understand that you keep on wanting to challenge and give them opportunity, but even when that's there, now they've got some idea. I don't have this experience yet, but my mother's been in the business 50 years and she's had enough business to say, don't do it. So.
It's a very real fear that some people have that can actually hold them back from making an investment. Yet by not making that investment at some point, it's also what's going to hold back your business. And here's what I would say. It's why I also use that organizational chart for retaining. So I use it to attract talent, and I also use it to retain. When we can remind them over and over again what their world. So first of all, we have to know what that person wants. What's important to them? Where do they want to go? And we have to make sure that we can show them a path on how to get there. So we use that org chart to remind them of the bigger world that we're a part of. We cast vision constantly. We are constantly talking about what the organization is doing to grow. Hire fast, fire slow, or hire slow, fire fast if they aren't the right person. When they are, continue to invest in them, vision cast. I will also tell you a very caring way that we keep people attracted to us is by accountability tools like a GPS and a 411. And while those may seem like, oh, that's not fun to do, what that does is that clearly helps there be clarity around what the goals are, what they need to be successful. And when we are consistently on a weekly basis doing 411s with them, we know constantly what they need, where they think they're winning, what they need to win. And we can then bring them the resources and give them the coaching and guidance. Again, when people don't feel successful, what happens? It hurts the energy. They go, okay, this isn't working. I go somewhere else. So those weekly accountability opportunities are very, very important. And when I do my weekly 411s, and I deal with the key people in all of my businesses, I not only talk about we talk about what their job successes are in their 411, but we also talk about personal and personal financial. In fact, I almost think it's more important on the 411. I actually start with the personal first, because at the end of the day, this is about living a fulfilled life. Business is meant to be a conduit for personal growth. So we need to understand from a personal standpoint, where does this person want to be and how can we be the conduit for them to help get there? Well, success in the business is what will fund that. So that weekly 411 is an incredibly caring way to make sure that they have the tools they need to be successful so they don't feel like they need to get out of business with you. Thank you, Susan. What other questions? Who else has anything? Let me look in the chat here. CFO, CEO, what happens if we invest? Yes. That's Al. That's awesome. Yes. What happens if we don't invest in them? That's exactly right. My calendar. How does your calendar look? So here's what, thank you, Yanni. I appreciate you asking that question. I think the calendar and the way that it looks and the willingness to be able to share it is very, very important. So when we look at when we have our GPS clearly defined and our 411, and we know what our top 20% is, that top 20% should be physically represented on your calendar every single week. It's very, very important to make sure. Otherwise, your calendar will end up just going to the wayside, and the fires that just happen as a natural part of our business will take over. The other thing I am an advocate of is let people see your calendar, especially as a rainmaker. So many are very protective, like they don't need to know where I am. They don't. Guys, if you're focusing on the right things in the business and taking care of your people and your 20%, you're modeling for your people. You're saying, hey, it's the same set of rules. And so actually sharing your calendar with those that are important key people in your world, oh my gosh, I can't tell. I've lost count how many people can see my calendar. You know why? Because my calendar is full of my 20%. And it's full of things that I am held accountable to, and it also shows on there the 411s that I'm doing each week with my people. So it's the same set of rules. And when people feel like as a leader, you're asking them to do what you are also doing, it encourages them to want to embrace that. So I am a huge advocate of sharing your calendar with those who are important in your world. And frankly, it can also make things a lot easier from a scheduling standpoint and having the conversations, because you don't have to try to sell them on what you're talking about. They can jump right into your calendar and see where your 20% is, where your accountability is, etc. That's a great question.
I had another question. So I know you were part of Livian. So what, if you want to talk for a minute about Livian, like what kind of agent or team would benefit from partnering with Livian, and how does that work to the extent that you can share that?
Yes, absolutely, Al. Thank you. So what Livian is a company, it's a platform or a company inside of Keller Williams. So you have to be with KW to be a part of Livian. And it basically is about an opportunity for agents or teams to plug in and remove friction so that they can accelerate their business. All this stuff that I talked about here with the integration of model systems, people, technology, etc. Livian is just the next level of that. So as a rainmaker, remember I told you guys earlier in this, we all have challenges. It takes a different hue depending on what season your business is. So a $3 million producer that wants to go to 10, a 10 million that wants to go to 50, a 50 that wants to go to 100. We all have our issues. Our challenges just look different depending on the season of our business. So what Olivian does is we partner with the rainmakers or the CEOs, usually around 20 million or above, that are ready to accelerate the growth of their business. And they plug into our high level model systems tech people that have all been vetted. We're in 33 states, 65 different markets. We're coast to coast. And then what we do for our CEOs is exactly on the local level what our CEOs do for agents. So those of you, maybe you're a $3 million producer who says, I'm going to be ready for leverage soon. I know that I need to have new stuff in my world in order to be able to grow again. I can either go out and vet the right models and systems and invest in it, or I can plug into something that is existing. So if there's an existing Livian team in your area and you plug into it, you've got those models and systems so you can accelerate. So again, it's really it's an accelerate opportunity to take your business to the next level. And it is your leverage.
So that not just systems, but that's also including people?
Yes. Yeah. And here's the reason why, Susan, is because there is an entire operational hub that is supporting the teams in our organization. And there's a whole group of people that help us with the onboarding and the vetting of the models and systems that are the highest level across the country, that truly can scale coast to coast, which allows our businesses to grow. So many of us, guilty here, so many of us build our businesses on our personalities. The challenge is when it's built on your personality, if life happens and you aren't in it every single day, then all of a sudden people start to leave. When it's built on your business is built on tried and true models and systems that are proven coast to coast, that an agent can continue to grow their business even if that rainmaker's happen. Oh, frozen. Okay, am I unfrozen now?
You're unfrozen, and I think we're at the end of you had to jump at 3,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, I did. And I'm going to put my contact information in the chat. If anyone, and because I know I had several freezing things, and I'm so sorry about that, you all. If you have any questions and you'd like me to go into any of this further, please don't hesitate to holler. I'm happy to do so. Al and Elizabeth, thank you for having me as a guest today.
Thank you so much, Don. This was really helpful. Despite the glitches, I think we got the gist of it and we got a lot out of it, and we really appreciate your time. This was really great. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you all.
Thank you. Before everybody else jumps, Cheryl wanted to talk a little bit about an upcoming class that she's working on.
Thank you. So on Tuesday at 11 o'clock, I'm giving a class on confidence.
Hold on. Hello.
So everything that Dawn just talked about in reference to building your systems, if you don't have the confidence within yourself to build those systems, it's not going to happen. So I think if you come to this class, you're going to learn a lot about yourself, and you're going to learn how to overcome those fears so you can start putting these systems in place and growing your personal life and your business life. So 11 o'clock in the Woodcliff Lake office, and I hope to see everybody there. Thank you. Thank you, Al.
All right. Thank you, Cheryl. Hopefully you guys can all make it. I think you'll get a lot out of Cheryl's class. Appreciate that. And that wraps it up for today. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by, and hope everyone has a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.